Good evening and welcome to yet another fantastic edition of the Celebrity Creators Show. Kathy, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing awesome, Brian. How about you tonight?
Doing terrific. We have two fantastic guests coming on. Not just one, but two. We're doubling your pleasure, doubling your fun, as the old commercial used to say. But first, before we go into introducing you to our new two fine guests, I want to first introduce you to this wonderful woman to my left, to your right, as you're watching on CelebrityCreators.com. Her name, as you can see beneath her, is Kathy Stover. She has an absolute wealth of experience when it comes to the world of business and marketing is a key. She is well versed in marketing. In fact, she has over 25 years experience as an operations manager and sales manager at a Fortune 500 company. Sales, marketing, there's a theme that goes with this. Although her corporate career ended 6 years ago because she decided to retire by choice and pursue her passion by enlisting her over 20 years of experience as an internet and network marketing entrepreneur to work from home, which she has been doing successfully ever since. She has been and still is an extremely successful affiliate marketer. This experience dates back to the early 90s. She's a well-versed network marketer as well. Do you hear that word marketer mentioned a lot? That dates back to the mid-80s. She's also, it gets better, she's also an author and has experience as well as a professional speaker. You want to hear more? And most recently, she has become a highly successful social media strategist. I could go on and on all night, but we have two guests, not just one. We need to introduce them. We want to get right into it. So with that, once again, I would like to welcome my dear friend and co-creator of this very show, Kathy Stover.
Brian, thank you so much. You always go so over the top for me. I really, really appreciate it. But I want to let those that may not have been on our show before know a little bit about this great guy over here. He not only looks good, he makes everything you see here on the show look good as well. Brian has been a software engineer for over 24 years, and I keep saying I think it's going to ebb over to 25 years here. I don't know, I'm thinking before the end of the year sometime. But at any rate, I want to share with you the fact that Brian, too, is a professional speaker, an author. He is very adept at social media, so when he talks about my abilities there, he has that as well. An affiliate marketing connection that has been very successful for him as well. Network marketing. So when you talk about marketing, the things that we put together certainly mesh and just collaborate great for everything that you see that we bring you each week. Brian's technological experience, as I said, brings some of the things you see, all of the inner workings that nobody is privy to. So it's kind of like, you know, as I would say, as a shade tree mechanic under the hood, baby. So Brian's got a lot of stuff going on there. But I just want to tell you, I enjoy being here every week. I'm excited for the wonderful guests that we have. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, too, once again, Kathy. This is just a joy to do this show with you each and every week. The wonderful guests that you bring to our show each and every week is phenomenal. As we mentioned before, we have not just one, but two guests to introduce you to tonight. So let's dive right in. Known as the Energy Mastery Coach, Amethyst Wildfire, MSD, which is Doctor of Metaphysics, is a multidimensional world visionary who specializes in serving leading transformational coaches and trainers, speakers, performers, artists, and alternative healers to leap fearlessly into their highest level of service to the planet. She is the originator of the Core Path, the Energy Foundations of Divine Wealth Intensive, a powerful energy journey program, for evolving entrepreneurs, which creates a sacred space and learning laboratory for her clients within which they are empowered to surface their own inner strengths. Also to achieve crystal clarity, cultivate a greater level of openness to source, reveal hidden gifts and talents from their higher aspects, and energize to implement and manifest their own dreams, mission, and purpose in the world. All right, Kathy, I'll turn it over to you for introduction of the next guest.
Awesome. You know, I'm so excited that I just recently had the opportunity to have the connection with Amethyst. I actually met this next ball of energy, and it's been about a year ago. And I'm talking about Kiva. She is the founder and president of the Wise Woman Network, which inspires and teaches women to live up to their worth, emotionally, physically, and financially. She's also the host of Web Talks Radio's A Woman's Worth. Kiva was formerly a sales vice president with a major investment firm managing a territory that generated over 100 million sales annually. Whoa, that's huge. Her presentations on women and investing laid the groundwork for what eventually became WISE workshops, and her personal mission to ensure that women are in charge of their own money, their own time, and the decisions that they make regarding their nutrition and their health. Together, Amethyst and Kiva represent a new paradigm in the, I can't even read, sorry about that, in the conversation of wealth and finance, incorporating deep spiritual practices with real-world financial expertise. These two women are on a mission for all of us to feel worthy, wealthy, and wise. We would love to welcome and introduce Amethyst Wildfire and Kiva Leatherman. Welcome, girls.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Sorry about tripping over my tongue there. I got a little bit good.
It's perfect.
It's all great. Thank you, Kathy, for having us. Don't worry about tripping over your tongue.
Brian,
it's not so much about the bio, it's about the message that we're going to deliver next, right?
Beautiful. Well, Brian and I have been totally excited ever since connecting with you, Amethyst, and connecting back with Kiva as well to present some of the things that you girls have been putting together over the past several months, and they're kind of debuting this as well. One of the things that I want to ask is, why do women need to tackle their relationships with their money?
For me, you know, coming from a very traditional financial background, it was very clear to me early in my career that the traditional way that we were being taught about money and financial management and personal finance just wasn't working for a lot of women. It wasn't interesting, it wasn't compelling, it didn't feel like something that was creative or collaborative. And especially coming out of, you know, sort of this go-go market that we were in for years leading up to 2001, and then again up until 2008, I think there's been a realization that wealth is something that must be generated from within, and that yes, there is a time and a place and a reason for markets and investing externally, but really where that has to begin is with us, and in creation and in collaboration and in self-reliance, not depending on a man or a market or an investment to do it for us, but to really step into our own power, our own passion, and create amazing things in the world.
Awesome. Amethyst, do you want to speak on that at all?
I would love to follow on that. And for me, Kathy and Brian, the way I see it is that we're really in a time where the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity is taking place. And we are being invited, especially as women, to step forward and open to receiving that wealth. And it is only by feeling worthy and being open that we can be receptacles, that we can be these vessels for wealth to come in and through us. The way I look at it is, we aren't taking it with us when we get to the end of this little earth walk and drop this road. We aren't going to take it with us, but we're conduits for wealth to come through us and to be redistributed and reallocated in ways that are more in alignment with our personal values for how we want to see the world be and be created.
Now,
Awesome.
there are a lot of people out there talking about the energy of money and money mindsets. We hear a lot about mindset on this show, Kathy and I do. Now, maybe let's start with Amethyst. What are your thoughts on these ideas?
So the way I work with this is not so much about the mindset, but it's about the heart set. And to me, the heart set is at that energetic level, it's at that spiritual level, and I see three different frequencies, so to speak, and each of those frequencies is a different layer where we can play. So for some people, they're really highly attuned to the frequency of money. And the money frequency is like rain. So sometimes there's a lot of rain and there's a flood, and other times there's no rain and there's a drought. And the next frequency is the frequency of abundance. And we're in the frequency of abundance, like being in the ocean. There's resources everywhere, there's money everywhere, there's stuff all around us, but none of it really sticks. It kind of, you know, we're in this ebbing and flowing kind of experience. And then there's the frequency of wealth, and that's really what Kiva and I are determined to begin to help people shift into. And that frequency of wealth is more like a river, and specifically I like to use the Colorado River as an example, and with the Hoover Dam. So when you're in that frequency of wealth, there's still this currency that's moving through, the currency of the river, or the currency of money, wealth, flowing through, but there's a reservoir too, and this reservoir contains a sufficient amount that you build up a power base, and from that power base you can then channel the wealth in ways that are generative. So like they open up the Hoover Dam to flood the fields and grow crops in California. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Kiva, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think mindset is a tricky thing because to me it sort of equates to willpower. You know, when you discuss changing a mindset and you think that you can do that purely by, you know, affirmations or changing your mind or focusing on the positive, I think that that can only get you so far, because what you really have to do is experience a reality that changes your mind. But what I have learned in doing this work very, very clearly is that it has to go beyond that. That's just sort of the tip of the iceberg.
Well, you know, there's certainly a shift and a movement going on overall, I think, and I would agree that a great part of it has to do with financial wealth and abundance. And something that you both alluded to is the fact that we're moving into a new way of thinking about investing in particular, and a way that is more feminine in values. Can you explain a little bit more about the feminine energy part of it for us?
You want to start that one, Amethyst? Me? Yeah.
Okay, I mean, why don't you go and then I'll take.
Sure. You know, for me, it's a both and conversation. I think that there's a lot that we still need to know from sort of the old paradigm teachings of investing. We need to know the basics of personal finance. We need to know, you know, especially as entrepreneurs, what our cash flow is, debt management. So all these things still come into play. What's shifting is that I believe that there's a more feminine piece that can mix into that becomes more generative, that is much more values-based, because when you think about the collective power of women sending their money consciously to things that they believe in, whether or not we agree, whatever it is, the environment, education, women with money can change everything, will change everything. And so what I talk to women about all the time is, yes, we need to talk about personal finance and investing, and I can teach you that. And you need to be a creative person in the world, and you need to support the things that are in alignment with your values, because that is a really feminine and powerful place to be when it comes to financial resources.
So Amethyst, how would you like to add to that?
So a couple of things. For me, the feminine aspect of working with wealth and working with money really is the invitation to become these vessels, to become these sacred containers through which the money flows, that it's a very fluid experience. And the other piece that I really feel is important to share is this invitation to invest in ourselves rather than in something outside of us. The feminine frequency is more inwardly focused. It's more about nourishing and nurturing that inner realm, and whether that inner realm then becomes manifest in the world as a program, a product, a service, a piece of art, or whatever it is. It starts with going within. It really starts with having that inner dialogue and allowing to well up from within our hearts what is most valuable to us, what is most desirous to us, what is most in alignment with our highest visions and our highest dreams for the planet. And it's a very different way of relating to money, that it becomes more of this inward journey first before the outward expression, as opposed to a more masculine way, which, you know, kind of like outside, like, okay, you know, action oriented, what can we do next kind of way of managing with money. One of my older mentors when I was younger, a mentor who I've had for a long, long time, he was my first business partner, and he was also my first boss. That was a true businessman, and his expression used to be, "Oh, don't worry about it. We can just throw money at it." And I see
that term.
the feminine way as being a bit different. Instead of throwing money at it to fix it, it's like, okay, let's go in and find out what really needs to happen here before we make those choices.
Interesting.
So primarily, I mean, what you two are sharing with the world and with women is to tap more into that feminine energy, become part of it and with it, so that they can understand and create and bring wealth and abundance to that energy, so that they can be financially successful. Is that, am I close?
All right, so what we are here to share, Kathy, is that it starts here. It starts inside. And what we're really wanting to get across to women more than anything is that true wealth comes from the divine through you and then gets expressed out into the world. And true divine wealth can be exchanged for material wealth. When we are fully bringing through our greatest gifts, when we're fully delivering our greatest gifts into the world can't help but respond to those gifts by exchanging wealth with us for the delivery of those gifts. And what we're here to do is we are here to do two things. First of all, we're here to help women understand the spiritual aspect of their relationship with wealth, and with themselves and their own worthiness for receiving and managing and generating and channeling wealth. And we're also here to very pragmatically equip them with tools that will allow them to do that in a way that's fun and creative and exciting and joyful, rather than sterile and stale and put it all into a box kind of way of managing. And that's the piece that Kiva really brings in to this equation. I mean, not that she doesn't bring the spiritual piece, because she absolutely does. And both of us have both got extensive experience in managing. I managed $100 million in real estate assets before I became Amethyst Wildfire and went into this metaphysical state. So,
wow.
Kiva?
Yeah, I think, you know, what I have seen is that it's been a backwards equation. We were taught that to get wealth, we invest. And actually, we need to get the wealth from ourselves first and then invest.
Okay.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay, I'm kind of an analytical guy, so I'm just going to get down to brass tacks here. So, you know, it's like, all right, give me the steps. What do we do? 1, 2, 3 in order. So
Show me the numbers.
yeah. So on that, what is the first step for women when thinking about their money? Where do they begin?
I'll just, I'm a numbers girl too. I have always been a numbers girl. Amethyst makes fun of me because I am like a spreadsheet junkie. And I just put it in simple math. We look at what you can do in the traditional investing world, and in its best days, its best years, perhaps you make 25-30% on your money. So if you have $10,000 to invest, and you are in the wham bam flying market, best of the best, $10,000 will earn you $3,000, right? In that year, it's 30%. And the next year, there's no guarantees. It could be up again, it could be down. There's no way to sustain that growth. Now, on the other hand, we take a $10,000 investment, and maybe you're an artist, or perhaps you like to walk dogs, whatever it is that you do, and you invest $10,000 in a business. I really can't think of a business that wouldn't earn you $3,000. In fact, it's really hard for me to surmise. I mean, you'd have to just go to sleep to not do that.
Right.
And then the great thing is you could do it again and again and again. It can never be taken from you. It can never have a bad down day. It can never suffer from a commodities fluctuation. It can never be arbitraged out from under you. You own it. And so when you look at the dollars of investing, the only way to generate sustainable wealth that you own and can't be taken from you is really through yourself. That's it. So there's a place for investing when you have a time horizon, a goal in the future, and that's important to have. But if we're talking about creating wealth, it's not going to happen there.
Interesting.
With the state of our economy right now, everybody is feeling some kind of financial pinch somewhere. I mean, from one degree to the other. And so what would you say about our basic needs and meeting those, like managing debt and banking and all of the things that come along with that, so that we can actually put it into real works and be able to handle it and move through it?
Yeah, I like to equate it to, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if you're in a place where you're really just trying to meet your basic expenses, perhaps you've lost a job, you've got debt that's out of control, that's where you've got to focus. It's like you don't have food, you don't have water. And until that's stable, it's really hard to be in this more aspirational place where you're dreaming and believing that you can create something amazing. And I can tell you that can happen really quickly. I have a client that I'm working with here who's a yoga instructor. She's a single mom. Until very recently, she was on welfare. She was very estranged from her daughter's father and hadn't occurred to her to try and get support from him. And quickly we were able to, by doing a lot of different things, but getting her out of dollars per hour, creating new clients, creating a financial partnership with her daughter's father. There were a lot of things that happened that quickly turned that around. And so if you're there, I'm telling you, even in this economy, I hate to even say that because my blog post today is all about turning it off. Like we can't watch it anymore. But that's your first step. As you go up that hierarchy of needs, you can start to create and dream, and again, ramp it up really fast. My business is 18 months old, and granted, I had a business background and I had resources, but if I was watching the news every day telling me how terrible everything was, I don't know that I would have the courage to do what I've done and to make the investments that I've made in myself.
Yeah, and I would like to respond to that as well. And those people who are in situations like Kiva just described, everyone has access, capacity to dream something new for themselves. And it requires an investment, whether that investment is an investment of time or that investment is an investment of social capital, or whether that investment is an investment of money or some combination of all of those things, it starts with a vision for change. It starts with a vision for moving into a new space. And there's a reason why our economy is in the situation that it is presently. And the reason why is because all of the structures that have been in place up until now are crying for change and are disintegrating. Many of them are disintegrating because they don't work anymore. And so the choice becomes, do I pour my personal power and my personal energy into watching television and being scared and frightened and warned and have this repeated information just pouring into my head that bad things are happening in the world? Or do I want to take my personal power, which is my time, my focus, my concentration, my energy, my creativity, and do I want to say, okay, that looks like crap. I'm not interested in investing another second of my time in that. I'm interested in going inside and finding out what's in me that wants to now be created in the world that is going to make a difference and make me joyful and happy and in balance. In my tradition, we call it in right relationship with myself first, and then as I come into right relationship with myself, the rest of the world will naturally magnetize itself around me in a new configuration that reflects my own balance. And that's part of what we want to share.
Perfect sense.
You know, even when you're down to nothing, you have creative power. You have power to make a difference.
And you have currency, because Amethyst touched on this. We call this personal currency. You always have your time. You always have your intellectual capacity. You have your heart. You have your dreams. And that is worth more than gold. So there's always resources, always.
I love that. Personal currency. That's a great tag for you.
Awesome.
Love that. Hey, before we go any further, let's remind our viewers, either live or watching this recorded later, that you can connect directly with Amethyst Wildfire and Kiva Leatherman in two different ways. One way is to click right on their picture. Now, there's two of them beneath us as we're doing this live. They will be above us as you see this as a recording. So click on either of their noses. Not now, though. Don't do that now if you're watching live, or even on the recording, because that will take you away from the show. Click on one or the other of their noses, and that will take you directly to their Facebook page, where you can get in touch with them in a more direct and more personal manner. Just be sure to hit the like button, and you will be in their in crowd. The other way is to click on their banner beneath, which I don't recall what it says. There's a lot of W's in it, if I recall correctly. The triple
it is saying worthy, wealthy, and wise.
Absolutely. Click on that and see what they've got going now with what I understand is a fairly new project that you two have joint ventured and gone together on, which sounds like a powerhouse. So be sure, not now, click after the show is over on both their noses and that wonderful banner with the big dub on it, and get connected with them both from a personal aspect and from, see what they're doing currently with this great new project. Moving on and going back to my analytical self, there's a question I'd like to ask about what are some actual specific questions that women should ask when they are considering an investment option.
You want to do this one, Kiva, first?
Tapped into themselves and generated wealth that's sustainable. Yeah, this is really where we get into some personal work, because there's values-based questions that I go through. There are, in my role as a women's wealth coach, I have how shall I say, guided conversations to release financial advisors to their future more often than not. And I would say it's always great to work with someone if you are looking to invest. Make sure that it's someone that doesn't make you feel demeaned or condescended or strong-armed or disempowered in any way, shape, or form. If you have an inkling of that, it's time to move on. But we have a lot of tools.
Did you say run?
Find out about that at Wise Women Network. But I think really for this conversation, when it comes to making a decision about an investment, it's really coming back to what we've been talking about. And what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your time to be spent doing? What could you be doing every day that would make you wake up and pinch yourself? You can't believe you're so blessed. And start there. Start with your passion and your heart and your expertise, your talent, and invest in that, because at the end of the day, nobody can make that decision for you. And so that's really where we come back to.
You know, I would say there is certainly a lot of wealth in investing in ourselves first, right?
The only wealth, really.
Because it's like you both have said, that, you know, our gifts and our knowledge and our talents are worth, it's immeasurable. So if we invest in those things in ourselves, we all, you know, look at how rich we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, through Amethyst, I've learned that I can feel wealthier than I've ever felt by sitting in my backyard and listening. You know, it sounds silly, but listening to the birds and rolling around on the lawn. I mean, how lucky is that? And you know what? I can do that at Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that to me is well.
Yeah, I think I want to follow up on that. And that is the call in the last decade or so for people to really get in alignment with their true values. And as a result of that, many women have been leaving corporate America in droves. You're one of them, right, Kathy? I'm a refugee. Kiva's a refugee. And it's not just women, but women in particular have left corporate America in droves and have actively chosen to create for themselves lifestyles for themselves and their families, lifestyles that allow them the freedom to spend a Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock in the apple orchard with their children. The freedom to serve. I have clients all over the world. My latest client was a client who is over in Dubai. I'm serving somebody in Dubai whose vision right now, who has had her own business for a dozen years, and whose vision right now is to not only keep this business and sustain this business, but to create a new platform where she is going to be helping CEOs bring spirituality into corporate, executive suites. And for me, I totally want to invest my time as a mentor in helping this woman to create a platform where CEOs are going to be bringing spirituality into the CEO suite. What a huge gift for me to be able to work with this woman on the other side of the world. And so I think this question of how we invest, really, it's a lifestyle choice that we are being given, and we are so gifted to live in this time. When I hear the squawking, our economy is falling apart, and then I look at all of the amazing technology and capacity that we have to create anything we want, it's like, this is the little devil voice and this is the little angel voice. You know, which one do you want to listen to? And I'm over here, you know, I'm over here with the angel voice, really deciding for myself. And this is the piece that Kiva and I are really, really excited about delivering to women, is the reminder to check in with what is it that you want, and the permission to have wants, and then from that space of gaining clarity around that, to be able to then crystallize around our wants exactly how we're going to get those accomplished.
Oh, that was excellent. Very, very well put. You know, it really fills me, Amethyst, I have to tell you. I guess, am I a refugee too? Is that what we're called? Refugees? But it's such a gift connecting with all of the women that I have an opportunity to connect with, that have, as you're talking about, so many gifts to share in different capacities. And I think that, in fact, one of our dear friends, Brian and I, Marianne Amon, is on with us, and I'm going to say she's a corporate refugee as well. But it's just absolutely phenomenal, the kind of energy and knowledge that so many women out there that we're all connecting with and that we're coming together with like we've never been able to do before because of the technology that we have, and kind of utilizing the gifts that they have that they were not able to use in a corporate environment, right? So they're just sharing it in so many valuable and exciting places with each other. It's just it's so fulfilling and really exciting to see. So thanks for sharing that, because that just, it brings a lot of joy.
You know what I really love too is we live in a time now where time itself is ours. I mean, we are recording right now, right? And we have this live thing happening right now, but for the whole rest of the week, people can access this, right? And for people who decide to become members of your community, they can access it and 80 other video interviews that have gone on over the last several months that you and Brian have been doing this work. So we need to give ourselves permission to step outside of these old constructs of 9 to 5 is when you work, and allow ourselves as women and as humanity,
people,
have permission to claim our birthright, which is we can do whatever we want with our time. We can do whatever we want with our energy. And when we step into that space where we really feel worthy, where we really claim that birthright, then magic happens.
Well, you know, I'm really interested. I think I'm going to throw this thought over to Kiva first, and you know, but I know that Amethyst, you have expertise in this as well, and I'm really interested to hear your response because of a situation that I had with one of them. But do you think that women should have a financial broker or a financial planner?
It depends where they are. For a lot of women, you know, I really have come to believe that the time and the place for investing in vehicles outside of yourself are for long-term goals, where, you know, investing in the broad market is just fine. Now, if you've gotten to a place where you've generated significant wealth and you need expertise above and beyond, perhaps you need to add some commodities to the mix, or you want to really start values-based investing, which is something that I do. I make sure that the investments that I make are in alignment with my beliefs about how the world should be working. Then it's really helpful to find a financial advisor who is aligned in the same way as you are with how you want your money to work. And so I think it's really a question, it's a personal question. It depends where you are. But I think for most, you know, for the money that needs to be invested, so, you know, for your children's education, where at some point in a in time, in a known place in the future, you're going to need a sum of money, then the broad markets in most cases are fine, and you can use an S&P fund and keep it simple, as they say. In those more complicated scenarios where you've accrued more wealth or you're in a more complicated situation, absolutely. And I can tell you, having worked with financial advisors for 12 years, there are incredible, incredible resources available. I think another place that's really important for women to be whole is in the conversation around insurance, to make sure that their assets are protected, that their health is protected, that all this stuff that we're generating around ideas is protected, and often a professional can really come very much into play in those situations.
Awesome. Amethyst, what is your opinion on planner or broker?
Oh, I didn't know that was the question. Can I go again?
So, Kathy, my opinion on investing is neither planner nor broker.
Okay.
I knew you were going to
Invest
say that.
some more in your business. Invest some more in yourself. And my area of expertise and my background was always in real estate. And for me, you know, you can't do better than to put a lot of money in pieces of real estate. People always need a place to live. You know, I haven't reached yet the point where I have billions of dollars, but when I get to that place where I have billions of dollars flowing through my channel, my intent is probably going to be to set up, you know, all kinds of philanthropic places for that money to go. I personally am not, I'm going to be guided by spirit as to where my money is going to go. And it's important for me to share with you and with everyone that if there ever comes a time where bond markets are not even in existence anymore, you will be fine. You will be fine if you trust in that higher guidance that is going to support you, that is going to provide for you everything you will ever need in order to have a thriving earth walk. And if you trust and have faith that that voice is going to guide you truly. So for some women, that voice is going to guide them to a financial planner or a broker or whatever. For other people, that voice is going to guide them to create, you know, maybe a massive retreat center in the middle of the desert. For other people, it's going to be create new programs, products, services, make partnerships. And each person has their own deepest guidance available to them to make those decisions. And there are people in the world who are going to stand ready to assist you with those decisions, whether it be a financial planner or a real estate broker or an insurance person or a wealth coach or a divine wealth coach who's going to hold the space for you to find your own truth.
Well, I like both answers. How about you, Brian?
Yeah, let's go with both. I like it.
And isn't that the beauty of this? Because I think that's a really incredible thing about this partnership between Amethyst and I, is it's such an amazing collaboration of our work, our experience, and for me, a continuing journey of learning what wealth means to me. Because I can tell you, it is a whole lot different today than it was just a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, I was drinking the Kool-Aid of Wall Street, so.
It's different today than it was yesterday, Kiva.
Yes, it is.
Well, I'll tell you what,
for tomorrow's blog.
You can certainly tell how well matched you are, not only in your expertise, which is similar but different, but just also in your energy with each other. It's fantastic. You can see it, you can feel it, and you two just mesh together so beautifully. What a great two couple of girly girls putting together a fabulous program that's really going to help a lot of women. It's fun to watch.
And I'll
well, we really we're divinely inspired to come together. There's no question about that. And what we are co-creating together has been completely divinely inspired and completely divinely guided. And as we've gone through this journey with one another, we have both been taking each other to the next level in both knowledge and wisdom. And our prayer, our deepest prayer, is to be able to not only serve women into feeling worthy of wealth and building that bridge for them, which we actually have a system that we call the Bridge to Build system, and each of the letters bridge and build stand for something in our system. Not only do we want to do that, but we also really want to be models for wealthy, contributing, generative women who know how to collaborate with one another and who know how to co-create in ways that are going to be of high service.
That's awesome. Well, you know, I think that's why Brian and I work so well together, even though we have a different combo with male and female energy. But our expertise levels in some instances are very similar, and on the other end of the spectrum, very different as well. So it makes a very cohesive collaboration and partnership working with that guy over there. So, and us too, we're very divinely appointed in our relationship and what we do and how we work in the things that we work with together as well. So we share some very, very similarities.
And wouldn't it be a boring world if we were all identical?
I really do want to say too that I feel like part of what the gift that Kiva and I bring to the table is this bridge between spirituality and practicality, because there has been a lot of, well, okay, over here are the woo-woo spiritual people doing their spiritual stuff, and over here are the practical business people doing their practical stuff. And our work is really like, okay, let's bring it all together and let it be an and, that you can be divinely guided and you can be a successful business person. You can be hearing from the voice of the angels and at the same time investing using your financial planner. And it's not about either or, it's really about the and it's about bringing together both the right and left brain and the heart and the mind and the practical and the spiritual, and not having all of these separations that create a lot of tension and dissension and disharmony in our world.
Beautiful.
I tell you, if I ever get down in energy or anything like that, I'm just going to do a conference call with you two so I can just wake right up. Because, as Kathy was saying, your energy together is wonderful. You play off each other very well, as I believe Kathy and I have over, it's been 2 years. Do you believe that, Kathy? Holy smokerino. It's been awesome.
I know.
Amethyst, you touched on it a little earlier. You said the word, or a kind of sort of variation of the word, philanthropy. And I wanted to touch on that. There's a new concept going around that, it's new to me anyway, one of profitable philanthropy. Is that something either of you or both of you could explain to us and our viewers what that really means?
Sure. I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about that vibration of wealth. When you step into that space of wealth and you are in that frequency, that is the space where you can become generative, where whatever you apply your wealth to generates. And so profitable philanthropy is just an outpicturing of that same philosophy. It's not about just giving a bunch of money away and then having that pile dissipate. It's really about holding holding that power in a way that allows you to divert some of the flow out into the world in a way that will generate more in the world rather than have it dissipate. And so Kiva, I think I'd like to have you maybe speak a little bit more to that as well.
Yeah, for me, there's a couple of different levels that I speak to this, that I could speak to this. You know, there's so much in the world about the law of attraction and money is energy, and you know, what I like to do is to take that to the end of the comparison. So if money is energy and it's not allowed to flow, or there's no conduit or container for that money, or there's no direction given to, the energy, then the energy just bleh, or it's trapped and it can't go anywhere. And so when we think about being profitable with philanthropy, simply in the giving, we're starting the flow of energy or water or whatever you want your mental image to be. And then it can go out and around and back through us and generate more. But what's really amazing is that with the sort of collapse that we talked about of existing systems in the financial world, there are more and more ways for us to actually profit from philanthropy. Organizations like Kiva.org, where you can, fund an entrepreneur in Guatemala to buy a goat, and you don't earn a return on your money, but your money comes back, and then you can give it to another entrepreneur and another and another. And that is really exciting to me. There are new websites like prosper.com where you can actually become involved in person-to-person lending. So, we all, beat up the banks and we're so angry at what everyone's done. Well, geez, let's just create a new system. And what I really believe is that all of us who are in the world of personal development and internet marketing and everything that we're doing with new technology, we are creating a new economy that is supportive of each other, that needs to create new products and services for each other. And so in simply doing our great work, we're being philanthropic because we're creating opportunity for people. And so for me, it's like, this is the new way. This is where we're going. Everything will become profitable philanthropy because it's going to be both. It will be of service and it will generate wealth.
Yummy.
Awesome. Yeah, it is yummy. That's it's a healthy and refreshing way to look at what everybody says out there is a problem and an issue. If you just look beyond and you put a little bit of creativity in it, and even connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs, men, women, you can come up with ideas just like you've shared with us here, to be able to take that energy where we feel like we were constrained and not able to give, and we can. And with that, part of giving is tithing, and that's often connected with religion because it talks about tithing and giving portions of what we make. What is your take on tithing, and how do you feel about that?
So, so the first thing I want to say before we jump into tithing is this this mention that you made of the problem. And for me, my philosophy is there are no problems. There are only solutions that have yet to be found. And a problem is just a solution waiting to express itself and to reveal itself through me or through other people. Tithing, I learned about tithing from Edwin Gaines, who wrote The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And to me, religion and tithing aren't necessarily equivalent to one another. In fact, in religion, in religious organizations, you're usually asked to make a donation. And some religious organizations ask you to tithe. Others just kind of pass the offering basket and ask you to make an offering. The way I learned about tithing and how I really feel is a tithe is something that's beyond a charitable contribution. A charitable contribution is when you give to somebody who's in need. A tithe is a giving back to the universe, to a place where you've received spiritual food. So when I first understood the concept of tithing, I started writing checks to my yoga teacher because I got spiritual food when I went to yoga class. I have definitely tithed both money as well as services when I have been guided that it serves the higher good for me to offer to this person because they're feeding me spiritual food, because they're doing something huge in the world. It behooves me to give to them, whether it's of my time or of my expertise or of my money. So for me, tithing is all about where are you receiving spiritual food, and it's an exchange for that spiritual food. It's like an honoring of that spiritual food. Kiva, you got something to say about tithing? I can't hear you.
I know, it's like,
There you are. No.
we apologize for the pause. There seemed to be a delay.
Kiva, I cannot hear you.
We cannot hear you.
Oh,
There we go.
I'm
She is.
back. I thought I was helping the echo. I'm sure what I said was brilliant. I have no idea what it was. Oh, tithing, yes. What for me, what it's about is letting go of the grip. We want to have a grip on money, right? We want to like hold on to it and not let it go and make sure we're keeping it all. And when you really start looking for people or things or places to tithe to, we start loosening our grip. And when we start loosening our grip, we let go of some of that and the angst and the worry. And when I can teach women to do that, amazing things happen. I don't want women up at 2 a.m. worrying about money anymore.
Ever.
And so for me, when I teach people to start tithing, that worry starts to dissipate because it's really fun. You start like looking for places to do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Without
my mute on.
Yes, without your
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. We loved it. That was great.
I'm much more interesting when you can't hear me.
Well, I'm actually
That
getting
is
better
not
at
true.
reading that.
Well, we're getting close to the end of our show. Let's go with one more question, if we might. Why do you think it's vital that we all start thinking about our money in this way? You know, with the tithing, with the whole everything rolled up into one concept. Why is it important that we start thinking about our money in the ways we've been discussing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we step into this as men and women, as evolved beings that are conscious about our choices, that are powerful around our purpose, we can have a yummy life. I just see it time and time again. You know, first in small ways when I started my business, but now in bigger and bigger and bigger ways. And so if there's something that you feel you need to be doing in the world, you can do it by thinking of investing in this new way. Are you there, Ian?
I'm still on TV. It's 10 o'clock. Yes, it's 10 o'clock. My son's in the background here.
And you get to talk to your children while you're doing a TV show.
That's the beauty of this, because
And he's been so helpful. He turned on the dishwasher. I'm like, dude.
well, that's the beauty. We're live internet TV, and we're sitting in our own home offices. And I wanted to say this too. Both of these charming ladies are coming from New Hampshire, so that's a first for us.
Cool.
Yep, 2 for the price of 1.
I
And
know.
both from New Hampshire. And our motto, our state motto here is live free or die.
I love it.
So
Which is the
actually, New Hampshire,
perfect answer to what Brian just asked.
There you go.
live free or die.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are the only state in the union that has no sales tax and no income tax.
I'm moving.
So you know what? Everybody's going to move to New Hampshire now.
Come on, it's fun.
I guess that's going to increase our housing values, right, Kiva?
Yeah. Probably. Especially if we come from this side of the country, you know.
Yeah.
Brian and I are both in California, so.
Yes.
But I've got to tell you, Brian just mentioned that we have come to the end of our show, and I'll tell you what, it happens every week. Before we know it, the hour has come and gone. So I just want to tell, or want to say to both of you, Kiva and Amethyst, what a joy to finally connect, and Brian and I are thrilled that we pulled this together to have you share such a valuable subject about helping women, their feminine energy, and all of the things that come with it to create wealth and to kind of put their place, their mind, and their space in a different realm to what we're used to and what we've been taught, really. So Brian had alluded to earlier, clicking on your noses, hitting your banner down below, because that's going to take them to some exciting places because you put together a great new program. So I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I'm so glad that Kiva, I connected with you a year ago, and Amethyst most recently, in the most recent months. But what a delight having you both. And Brian, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
And I can't exhibit those feelings any more than Kathy did. Well, I want to say, worthy, wealthy, and wise, that is the epitome of the two of you. And we cannot thank you enough for bringing your worth, your wealth of knowledge, and your wisdom to our show. We truly appreciate having you on our show, for sharing your value to our audience, because it is true value, and more people should be privy to the types of teachings you are providing. So everyone, be sure to click on that banner beneath. One more plug for that. The WWW, we like that, and also the double nose, as Kathy alluded to before. But thank you so much once again, ladies. We look forward to having you again in the near future. With that, I would like to say good night to all watching, and good night, Kathy, good night, Amethyst, good night, Kiva, and we'll see you again on our next show. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks for having us.